Thank you very much for talking to Car News. Can you introduce yourself to our viewers, please?
Fiona Allen, and I'm Chief Executive of Curve Theatre.
Can you tell us about the Curve before you started and where it is now?
When I started, I think Curve had been through a couple of years of a hard time. That it opened way over budget in terms of the building cost, and that the public opinion about Curve, I think, when it opened was very mixed. Certainly the media attention all seemed to focus on the overspend of the building, and I think there are probably a lot of members in Leicester's community who thought that too much money had been spent in the arts when it might have been spent on other things. So I think it was a hard environment in which to open a new business, and especially just as Curve was opening at the end of 2008, it was really when the recession started to hit. By the start of year 3, we had King and I, and I think that really was the point in which people started to come to appreciate what this place could evolve to be.
When you took over this role as the Chief Executive of the Curve, and that time Curve is, as you mentioned, when the media eyes in a different direction and the public opinion is very different. So you didn't think that time is a big challenge for you to U-turn?
Yes, it was a very big challenge. It has been a very big challenge. I'm lucky to work with a team of very talented people, though, who have come on board and wanted to make change. So of course I came in here to be a change agent and to manage change, but I was gifted with a group of people who wanted that change to happen, who knew that we needed to change in order to be successful. Something else that we've been working hard on over the last couple of years is how to attract some of the top producers in the country to come and bring their productions to Curve. And that was never something that was going to happen immediately. I don't think in year 1 or year 2, people were just getting to know where we were attracting people down, just, producers, to see Curve's facilities. But it took a few years to build a reputation as a place that producers wanted to bring their new shows.
According to the press release, over 200,000 people visited Curve from 2011 to 2012. These are local or from wider area?
About 40% overall of our ticket buyers come from Leicester, within the Leicester Ring Road. Another 40% come from within the county, but 20% come from beyond the county. Well, we know that some of our shows, like Gypsy, we had people travel from Australia and from the United States especially to come here to see that production because they were such great fans of that musical. We know that a lot of people come up from London to see our own produced work, but our audience maps also show people are booking from Belfast and Inverness and Anglesey and Plymouth. So for particular productions, we really are attracting audiences from all over the country, and that of course has a knock-on effect for tourism.
Do you think Curve have a balanced program for ethnic minorities?
I think it's a really interesting question because there are a couple of ways of looking at this. Now, Leicester is a diverse city. I wouldn't want it just to look like we were always doing sort of ethnically specific programming. Actually, what we have to try to do is put on a broad program that's going to appeal to people from different racial and different religious groups to come and see. And something like King and I was a perfect example of that, actually. If you looked at the audience, you saw people from every part of Leicester's background. We do, of course, also work with particular community groups to do things that are relevant, especially in terms of celebration. So we have to look at, when we're looking at diversity, it's actually about looking at intercultural relationships, not just particular members of the community.
How important for you to bring in world premium here or community production?
It's both, and there is both. We have to appeal on both levels, and I think I feel very strongly that Curve is a public resource. It's here as a resource for the community. Last year we worked with 20 different performing arts companies from around the East Midlands to allow them the opportunity to perform at Curve. But on the other hand, we have an amazing technical facility that producers from all over the country have their eye on and think, wouldn't it be great to open my show there? So we opened 5 productions here at Curve last year, which were in Inspector Calls, the tour of that. Akram Khan's Desh was actually created here in Curve. I was at a press conference where Danny Boyle said his greatest moments of sitting in a theatre was seeing Akram Khan in Desh. And I felt so proud because here's Danny Boyle talking about Desh being one of the best things he's ever seen on stage. And of course that show wouldn't have even been made if Akram Khan hadn't been able to come to Curve and have a month here in residency creating that piece. So Desh, Finding Neverland, One Man, Two Governors, and the Bollywood musical, The Vava Girls, which opened here. So it's about the balance. I think it's really important for us to be bringing these big name productions to open here in Leicester, because it's a chance for audiences here to see things first and, you know, to have first shot at seeing some really incredible productions. But we do have to balance that with the support that we're giving to local artists and allowing community groups access to perform here.
Where would you like to see the Curve in the next couple of years?
In the 18 months since I've been here, we've started many new things. So really my next plan for the next year or two is about building on those and consolidating those. Say in the last year we've started a free community stage in the foyer. We've set up a stage there that's there for communities and education groups to use. At the moment we maybe have, you know, once a week we have someone do it. I like it to be twice a week, 3 times a week. It's there as a platform for the community. So it's about how we grow our involvement, how we make relationships with festivals and how we continue to bring the very, very best shows here into Leicester, and of course our own produced work. How can we be doing that bigger and better and getting more tours out there like King and I?
Art funding is cutting down. So you think it's a big challenge for the Curve?
I think it's going to be a major challenge for the Curve, and the situation across the country is really worrying for everyone involved in theatre, because even at this point we're all operating very lean organisations. There's not a lot of room to cut, and so further cuts to us are going to mean cut to activity or cut to opening hours. And just at a point where this organisation is starting to move in the right direction and starting to fly and starting to really engage, it would be shooting ourselves in the foot to say, well, we don't have the money for community engagement anymore. We can't, you know, our cafe can only be open 2 hours before the performance. It won't do the cultural quarter any good. It won't do our future audiences any good. So I think even the smallest cuts at this point that are going to be made by any authority, whether it's national or local, could actually have really devastating consequences for the theatre infrastructure in the whole country. I'm very proud of Curve and the whole team here at Curve, because I think they've been working extraordinarily hard to get the results that they get. And I work with a bunch of extremely talented people. Paul Kerrison needs special mention there as one of the most talented people I've ever worked with. But in terms of the success, I see this as being part of an upward trajectory. We're not there yet. We're certainly on the way, and I think our numbers are proving that we're winning over hearts and minds and starting to be a more central part of the community here in Leicester. But there's still work to be done.